Here are the 11 most controversial wins in the history of the lottery. From stolen tickets to pre-planned drawings, these wins were destined to shock us. Number 11. McDonald's worker turned fake winners. On April 9, 2012, a McDonald's worker known as Merland Wilson made headlines by claiming a $218 million lottery win, then saying she lost the ticket. Only people weren't so sure about that. When the news of Wilson winning the lottery broke out, her colleagues had their own side of the story. They said the winning ticket didn't belong to Merland. They'd actually bought it as a group. They filed a lawsuit against the McDonald's worker, saying that she was trying to take all the money for herself. But that wasn't even the last twist in the story. It turned out that she was not the real winner at all. The actual jackpot winners were 3 teachers who playfully called themselves the Three Amigos. Maryland Lottery spokeswoman Carol Everett confirmed the legitimacy of their win, stating that the trio successfully claimed their prize at the lottery headquarters. These winners proved their claim by presenting a ticket that matched all 6 numbers: 2, 4, 23, 38, 46, and the Mega Ball 23. Although their identity is kept private as per their request, these 3 knew each other through their profession, but they did not work at the same school. When asked why she lied about being the winner, Wilson didn't have any clear answers. All she said was that even if she didn't win this time, she's doing okay and she'll get the money. I know, it's a pretty weird thing to say. Even though Wilson tried hard to claim the prize eventually went to the right hands. But despite being the righteous owner, our next lottery winner had a past admirer asking for a share too. Number 10. Marie Holmes and lawsuits from prison. Marie Holmes, a young 26-year-old woman with 2 kids, was working 5 jobs and was barely making ends meet when destiny gave her a $188 million surprise. In 2015, although Marie Holmes' winning odds were 1 in 175 million, she defied the odds by winning a $188 million jackpot. Just like every winner, Holmes also started thinking about the places she would spend her money. The young woman had a lot of plans for her newfound wealth, such as contributing to religious organizations, using a portion of her wealth to support charities. Her dream was to buy a house for her mother. Holmes had also been forced to give up on her studies because she just didn't have the money. But with the newly gained jackpot and a little confidence, she wanted to finish her college degree. Holmes was delighted until her ex-fiancé, Lamar Andre McDowell, came into the picture, claiming his own share from Holmes' fortune. McDowell, aged 36, filed a lawsuit against Holmes while he was serving time in jail. He said she was selling or giving away several valuable things she'd originally bought for him, like jewelry, cars, and clothes. In response, Holmes argued that the gifts were never in McDowell's name, and that meant they legally belonged to her. McDowell was not a good guy. He was involved in a lot of bad stuff, and that's what sent him behind bars. In fact, before the lawsuit, Holmes had spent a whopping $21 on bail to keep him out of prison. After he was denied bail for drug trafficking, the pair split up. Holmes was all fine and enjoying her new wealth with her kids and new boyfriend, when out of nowhere, she heard that her ex-fiancé had filed a lawsuit against her. McDowell chose to thank Holmes by filing this lawsuit against her from his prison cell. I guess some people are never happy. The legal battle went on and on before it was finally moved to federal court. While Holmes had to fight for her wealth, the next winner went to jail for scamming his fellow winners. Number 9. 7 winners, 6 scammed, and 1 jailed. In 2012, Americo Lopez and 5 of his co-workers bought a lottery ticket together in New Jersey. The group had contributed money for the ticket, promising to share the prize. But when they won a $38.5 million Mega Millions jackpot, Lopez claimed the prize for himself and quit his job. He didn't tell any of his co-workers about the win. In fact, he was planning to run away with all the money and live the life of a millionaire. But it wasn't long before his colleagues learned about the win. When the other 5 colleagues learned that Lopez was planning to keep the money all for himself, they filed a lawsuit against him, alleging that he had scammed them by taking their share of the winnings. The court, after looking at the situation and listening to everyone, gave the decision in favor of the coworkers, and Lopez was ordered to share the prize. He was ordered to give $4 million to each of his 5 coworkers, but Lopez messed up when he went against the law. But that wasn't the end of the story. Lopez didn't learn his lesson. After losing the first lawsuit to his coworkers, he was involved in another legal dispute. This time, it was because he refused to follow the court's orders. He simply ignored the outcome of the court case and never handed over any of the money. It was pretty stupid to think he could get away with that. It led to a contempt of court charge, and he was sentenced to jail for not distributing the winnings as ordered. His greed took him straight to jail, so he didn't even get to spend his own share of the prize. Think that's a shocking story? The next one on the list had the lottery officials on red alert. Number 8. Lottery inside fortune cookies. In Kansas in 2005, 110 lucky people correctly guessed 5 out of the 6 numbers, making them all second prize lottery winners. Obviously, this caused a stir in the Multi-State Lottery Association. The payout for these winners ranged from $100,000 to $500,000, depending on whether they'd paid for a 5 times bonus on their ticket. That meant an incredible $19 million was paid out for the 110 players. But based on the number of tickets sold in the 29 states, there should only have been 4 or 5 winners. The numbers were way off average. So how did 110 people win a second prize? That's what lottery officials wanted to know. Things got more messed up when they realized that a similar situation occurred in New Mexico, Idaho, Texas, Rhode Island, and Minnesota. They explored a few possibilities, including the idea that the game might have been rigged, but they couldn't find any evidence. So they tried something simple. They asked some of the winners. Those lucky people said they had obtained their winning numbers from fortune cookies. Now, officials had a lead. Even if it was a surprising one. An investigation took place and several visits were made to Chinese restaurants, buffets, and takeouts. Every fortune cookie distributor was contacted. The authorities were desperate to find the mastermind behind this. Eventually, the insightful fortune cookies were tracked to the Long Island City factory, which produced 4 million cookies per day. It turned out there wasn't any scam. It's just that some fortune cookies are more fortunate than others. Those people really did just get lucky. But the next person on our list sure wasn't. In fact, to get her ticket, she had to do something drastic. Number 7. Winning a jackpot with a loaned ticket. In March 2015, Eva Reyes, a 53-year-old, was in a desperate need of money. But she saw a way out. She wanted to play the lottery, but with no money, she resorted to borrowing money for a lottery ticket. Amazingly, she won around $1 million. Her first thought was to go on a family holiday to Hawaii, but she found herself in the middle of a legal storm when the owner of the store where she bought the winning ticket filed a lawsuit against her, claiming a right to half of her prize. The Milpitas, California store owner, Lakshmi Bhardwaj, turned out to be the person who loaned Reyes the money. But there was a condition. His story went like this. Reyes did not have money to buy a ticket and asked him for a loan. The store owner only agreed when Reyes promised that if she won, she would give half of her winning money to him. However, when the two were brought to the court, Reyes said that she had not promised what Bhardwaj was claiming. She said she had agreed to something, but it wasn't half. She promised she would give Bhardwaj $50,000 from her wealth. Bhardwaj even presented a note signed by Reyes as a proof. Reyes' lawyer said that his client had only written $50,000 as the agreement, and someone had tampered with the note, adding an extra zero onto the number. Reyes said she was happy to give the shop owner $50,000, but after he filed a lawsuit against her, she'd understandably changed her mind. She decided she didn't want to hand over a single dollar to someone who would lie about her. Although Reyes was going against her promise, the court decided that, legally, she had the right to keep all her money to herself. Reyes got the Hawaiian vacation with her family that she wanted. The next people on our list also got to spend some time together. Only it wasn't on a Hawaiian beach, it was in jail. Number 6. Tipton Brothers Lottery Scam. Eddie Tipton, the former security chief of the Multi-State Lottery Association, and his brother Tommy Tipton, a former justice of the peace from Texas, created quite a controversial buzz in the lotto world. Don't let their job titles fool you. These brothers were the masterminds behind one of the biggest scams in lottery history. The Tipton brothers came into the spotlight when they bought winning tickets in different states, Colorado and Oklahoma. But that's not all. This trail led the police to Kansas and Wisconsin, where surprisingly Tiptons had won more jackpots. Now, this could not be a coincidence. During the investigation, the police found out that Eddie, with his insider knowledge, programmed a computer to benefit him. But these weren't just some random numbers. They were created through a specific algorithm that Eddie installed. The Tipton brothers knew Eddie's software would limit the amount of possible winning number combinations. They only needed to buy a few tickets to guarantee a jackpot win. With their own computer-generated numbers in hand, they managed to claim 6 lottery jackpots in 5 states, which added up to a total of over $19 million. Although the two are behind bars now, this story created a huge controversy about the security and integrity of lottery systems across the nation. How did these two manage to pull off such a feat? And how many other lottery scams are out there waiting to be uncovered? While Eddie and Tommy went to jail for winning illegally, the next story was even more shocking thanks to the high-profile winner involved. Number 5. Jose Rivera versus Edwin Castro. The world of lottery winnings was shaken when Jose Rivera, a resident of California, filed a lawsuit against Edwin Castro, the lucky winner of the record-breaking $2.04 billion Powerball jackpot. The reason? Rivera claimed that the winning ticket, which brought Castro immense fortune and joy on the 14th of February 2023, was stolen from him. But here's the twist. He said Castro was not the one who stole the ticket. According to Rivera, he purchased the lottery ticket on November 7, 2022. However, the same day he acquired it, an unknown individual snatched the precious piece of paper from him. Rivera later learned that this ticket thief was a man called Romero, who also threatened him. He said if Rivera didn't share his winnings, his winning ticket would be destroyed. The story took quite a bizarre turn when both Rivera and Castro went to the California Lottery headquarters in Sacramento to claim the prize. Caught in the crossfire, the California Lottery issued a brief statement that the prize had been handed over to the rightful owner. But if Rivera is telling the truth, how did the ticket ultimately end up in the hands of Edwin Castro? You can bet the lottery considered that too. It sure makes it sound like the ticket probably wasn't stolen. The lottery thinks Castro was definitely the winner, but we might never know for sure if Rivera was telling the truth. This isn't the only time the lottery authorities were forced to step in. The next lotto win was a headache for the authorities. Number 4. The blindfolded children lottery scam. Also known as the Milan Lotto scandal, this incident that happened between 1995 and 1999 is one of the biggest and costliest lottery scandals in history. What's even more shocking is that for these 5 years, no one among the officials overseeing the lottery even had a clue that they were being swindled. The reason why no one was able to sense anything wrong was because of the Italian lottery's use of blindfolded children to select the winning numbers. But little did they know that these blindfolded children were not some random kids. They were chosen by the scammers themselves. It seemed like a perfect way to randomly select balls. These blindfolded children were told to pick the balls from a spinning drum. Here's the catch. The scammers used to tamper with the balls by either heating or freezing them before placing them in the drum. Sometimes they even added super shiny gloss to certain balls so that they could be seen through the blindfolds. Then the children were trained well, so they knew they should be picking those balls. During these 5 years, these scammers were able to bag approximately $174 million. The scam came into the spotlight unexpectedly when it all went wrong one day. A ball had been heated up too much, and a child burned their hand on it in front of everyone. It looked just as suspicious as you'd expect. An investigation took place, and the authorities noticed that the children chosen for the game were always in their pre-teens and had connections to tax officials. Soon, they found that 3 tax inspectors and 6 other individuals were behind this 5-year scam. To avoid further scams like this, the authorities decided to put an end to the blindfolded lottery technique and switched to generating random numbers through a computer system. This scam involved some seriously hard work. Our next winner did not have to work hard to get her winning ticket, but she created problems for herself after. Number 3. A Florida waitress's jackpot came with multiple lawsuits. In 1999, Tonda Dickerson, a waitress working in a waffle shop in Florida, got a lottery ticket as a tip from a regular customer, Edward Seward, at the Waffle House in Grant Bay. Dickerson was not the only one Edward shared lottery tickets with. 4 other colleagues also received one each. The agreement was that no matter who won, the prize should be split between them. Dickerson and 4 colleagues received these tickets in envelopes, not knowing that one of them held a $10 million prize. When they checked the tickets on drawing day, none of them had won. At least, that's what they thought. In fact, Tonda was holding a winning ticket. To be on the safer side and to avoid overspending, Dickerson decided to go for an annuity payment system where she would receive $375,000 per year for 30 years. This was a pretty awesome choice, as this provided her with a stable income. But guess what? Dickerson got stuck in the rounds of court. Her coworkers went against her and sued her. They filed a lawsuit against Dickerson over the agreement to split the winnings, to which Dickerson disagreed. Even with all the witnesses, she got away with all the cash. But it wasn't over yet. Just when Dickerson thought everything was fine, she was sued again. But this one came as a shock. It wasn't the waitresses, but the owner of the Waffle House who took her to court. He was hoping Tonda would have to face some justice for what she'd done to the other waitresses. So he went to court, claiming that the waitresses had promised to buy him a new truck if they ever won, and Tonda hadn't stuck to the agreement. Somehow, Tonda won the court case again. But there was one last trip to court waiting for her. This time, it was the IRS she was up against. Dickerson had tried to protect the money from her coworkers by putting it all into a corporation. But she'd slipped up by giving shares to her friends and family. She had no idea that this carried a gift tax, which she never paid. Oops. The IRS noticed, though. They came after her for a whopping $1 million in unpaid taxes. This time, Tonda's luck had run out. She was finally ordered to pay up. Just like Tonda Dickerson, our next lottery winner also got sued by his coworkers. Number 2. The $50 million dispute. In a Bell Canada office in East Toronto, 19 coworkers purchased a ticket together that won a $50 million lottery jackpot on January 3rd. That's every office lottery pool's dream. But their celebration didn't last long, because 11 other coworkers stepped forward, claiming they also deserved a share of the prize. And guess what? These 11 sudden contenders even hired a lawyer to fight their case. Since the situation has been stuck in a legal limbo, both party lawyers could either resolve the issue right there or let the case go on trial for the next 2 to 3 years. As a temporary solution, the original group of 19 has agreed to split the prize, with each person receiving a 1/30th share. But it may only be temporary. Controversially, since the court was not still sure whether the claims of the other 11 people were true or not, each of the 19 were allowed to take home $1.67 million until the claims of the other 11 Bell workers could be properly assessed. If splitting a lottery win with 11 people you weren't expecting has shocked you, wait till you hear about this last one. Number 1. Philippines' strange lottery jackpot. Now, this last one is the true definition of a lottery world controversy. In 2022 in the Philippines, a US $4 million jackpot had around 433 winners. But it's so hard to pick the right numbers How did so many people defy the odds at the same time? Well, you're not the only one to question that. The event, which was organized by the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, left many raised eyebrows among both the public and government officials. The draw marked a historic moment in the Philippines lottery history, because this was the first time when such a large number of individuals shared the Grand Lotto prize. Each of the 433 winners took home nearly 10 grand each. What made this lottery win even more unusual were the winning numbers themselves. All 6 of them were multiples of 9. They were 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, and 54. Terrence Tao, a renowned mathematics professor from the University of California, Los Angeles, said that it was unusual for a single lottery draw to produce a sequence of numbers like that one. The outcome triggered skepticism and curiosity from various government officials. Aquilino Pimentel III, the Senate Minority Leader of the Philippines, even called for an investigation into this strange and unusual draw. In defense, Melquiades Robles, the general manager of the sweepstakes office, claimed that there was nothing strange with the results. But the public says otherwise. One Twitter user even hinted that it might have been organized in advance. How's it possible for 433 people to guess the exact same combination? Was this just chance, or was it planned? The world of lotteries is full of unexpected twists and heartbreaking tragedies. Money does bring happiness, but for some it takes away everything from them. Click here to watch lottery winners that ended tragically.